Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, this is Hopeful Chewbacca back at the Church of Chewbacca, and today we're going to go over the finest 2020 pack that you unlock at 250 fans on any of the Team Affinity reward paths. Essentially, this pack, I believe, contains 17 cards, 14 of which are on the lower tier, and then on the rare tier, there is 3 cards. You also get a rare 2020 Finest pack, which contains just those 3 cards at the very end of any Team Affinity at 300 fans. So we're going to go over the big pack, the one you get at 250 fans, and kind of go over each one of those cards. We're not going to necessarily do an in-depth true review, but I'm going to go over each card, kind of how you could use them in your lineup, whether or not I think the card is a card that's worth using or just something you should sell right away, as you will get 30 of these packs, and you'll probably end up with being able to get a chance at each of the players at some point in time if you go through all of the Team Affinity. So I want to make sure that you guys at least know that they exist. You might also need these cards for the collection rewards, which will do a true review of the collection rewards, as well as I will do a true review of the Elite 2020 Finest pack or Rare 2020 Finest pack that guarantees you Garrett Cole 99 overall, the 99 overall Danielson Lamet, as well as a 99 overall Ronald Acuna. You get to pick one of those 3. I'll give all 3 of those cards in-depth true reviews because I think that those cards could definitely be starters in your lineup, and I want to go over each one of them and what their flaws are, how good of a card I think they actually are. Before we get into this video, the best way to support the channel is to hit the subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up, hit the notification bell so you know whenever I'm uploading more videos, as well as leave a comment down below about what you guys think about the 2020 Finest reward pack that has these 17 cards in them. Love to have a conversation with you. I appreciate all the support you guys have given me so far. Let's get into it. In case anybody's wondering just what the outside of the pack looks like, it's at 250 fans. Obviously, I've done the Pirates already, but I promise you it's 250 fans. The pack looks like this. You get a 1 out of 1 chance of the base and 1 out of 4 for the rare. The rare are those 3 cards I mentioned earlier, the 99 overalls. As you can see, we get into this pack, and it's just a plethora of cards. You're only going to get to choose between, I think, either 4 or 5 of them whenever they pop up. I believe it's only 4 of them, but if it is 5, it's 5. Let's go into each one of these cards, go over them relatively quickly just to kind of know if the card's good or not, what I think about it, and whether or not maybe you should use it in your lineup, and for what purpose if you wanted to use it in your lineup. Marco Gonzales. The first card here is 97 overall starting pitcher, finest 2020 card for the Seattle Mariners. It's Marco Gonzales. He actually had a pretty good year this season. He does have a very good pitch repertoire just looking at it very quickly. A left-handed pitcher. He has an 89 mile per hour sinker, 86 mile per hour cutter, 75 mile per hour curveball, 79 mile per hour changeup, and a 90 mile per hour four-seam fastball. My biggest thing with this Marco Gonzales is he doesn't really offer you too much in his 9s. At only 93 hits per 9, at this point in the game, I don't think it's that great. He is a lefty, though, and he does throw very slow, so he can kind of throw some people off, especially guys that are playing in that lower difficulty that are used to seeing guys running up in the high 90s. He does have a decent change of speed in his pitches. He does have all the pitches you would need to be successful. I just personally think he throws too slow. He doesn't have the best 9s. At the night, like I said, 93 hits per 9, 84 Ks per 9. Good control, though, 92 control, 114 base on balls per 9. This Gonzales, I don't think he makes it in anybody's starting rotation, especially if you're already in stage 4. However, marketplace right now, you can probably get him for under 15,000 stubs, which I don't think is too bad of a price if you're a new player and you're just trying to pick up a left-handed starter that has all the necessary things to be in a pitch repertoire. But he reminds me a lot of Alex Wood, and the fact he has a good pitch repertoire but throws very slow. Would not recommend him. Luis Castillo. Another 97 overall starting pitcher. This is Luis Castillo. He plays for Cincinnati Reds. Another guy that had a pretty good year. I don't think he has a great pitch repertoire, to be honest with you. He does throw the ball 99 miles an hour, might hit 100 miles an hour. His circle change for me just floats. In his live series card, it floated. In his 97 overall Finest last year, it floated, or was it an all-star card? I don't remember. He had a high-end diamond last year. Might have only been a 92. Either way, I never liked him as a pitcher. I don't like his pitch release angle. I think his circle change hangs too much. His slider, sinker, fastball combination is pretty decent, but after a few innings, it gets old. And unless you really mix it up and the guy is pretty much brain dead and can't hit, you're not going to be super successful with Castillo. He does have good K per 9 at 106, decent stamina at 105. The 95 hits per 9 is Very good, though, against the computer. I will say this. If you are an offline player, that 94 home runs per 9 with the 95 hits per 9 is actually pretty good, especially compared to some of these other pitchers you're going to see that have maybe lower home runs per 9. That really matters offline. SDS says it doesn't matter online. I think it does. Some people think it doesn't. However you guys feel about that, the home runs per 9 definitely matter against the computer offline. So might be a little bit better pitcher offline than online. Online play, definitely no-go for me. On offline play, it's really up to you. It's kind of what your team is. Looking at his market value, this is a guy you're going to be able to get for under 14,000 stubs if you put in a buy now order essentially for him, because you put it in that sell now price. That's what if you put in a buy order for him is. And as you can see right here, it's going to be around 14,000 stubs, maybe a little bit under there. So that's a pretty decent price for a guy that offline is going to be a stud if you grind offline games. Kevin Gausman. Although he never developed on the Baltimore Orioles, Kevin Gausman had a great year for the San Francisco Giants, and I know he played for the Braves before the Giants this year, but either way, he never really developed into something, except this year he had a very good season for a not-so-good San Francisco Giants team. He has a 4-pitch repertoire, a 4-seam fastball, splitter, slider, 2-seam fastball, so not a great pitch repertoire. He is a right-handed throwing pitcher, bats left-handed. His 9s are okay. They're like the last two guys kind of we went over. 95 hits per 9, 107 Ks per 9. Above average control at 84 control, 87 base on balls per 9. His home runs per 9 at 73. 100%, I think this Gausman is a no-go. I think Gausman is just not that good of a card. I'm not going to go over it too much more. He was worse than the other 297s we just went over. And I think there's just going to be better options you can pick if it's out of 4 or 5 people. Now, as for the finest 2020 collection, you might have to pick him at some point in time if you want to do the collection and get all 50 cards. I don't know if you can get 50 without picking up all the cards or not. I know you can get, obviously, to 30 to get all 4 of the collection cards without having to pick Gausman. But either way, I don't think he's that good of a card. No go for me. Jose Iglesias. This is our first position player that we've gone over in this pack. It's Jose Iglesias, shortstop for the Baltimore Orioles. So the Orioles didn't really have a good season. I mean, they had a good season for what the Orioles are, but they are a very young team. So they weren't projected to do much. In the COVID-shortened season, they obviously did pretty well. However, I don't know. I'm surprised they got 3 finest cards, but it is what it is. He's a shortstop. His secondary positions of second base and third base. He's right-handed batting, right-handed throwing, diamond hitting, diamond defenses. Most of these are going to be diamond on diamond for hitting in defense. He is a great contact hitter. I believe he batted well over the 300 mark, if I'm not mistaken. He's 125 contact versus righty, 125 contact versus lefty, 66 power versus righty, 78 power versus lefty, 116 vision. Terrible discipline at 47. Don't try to hold up those check swings, boys. He's going to swing through it. 125 clutch. 93 fielding, 66 arm strength, 87 arm accuracy, 94 reaction, 57 speed. The card itself, pretty decent in the field. I think at shortstop, his arm strength isn't very good at 66. There is a crap ton of shortstops that have come out. For this Iglesias, unless you're a Baltimore Orioles fan, I'm going to say no-go. So, yeah, she just is not too impressive for me. And if you are going to play him at second base over shortstop with that arm strength. Jake Cronenworth. So this is a San Diego Padres second baseman. He's right-handed throwing, left-handed batting, Jake Cronenworth. And he has secondary positions of first base, third base, and shortstop. So you can play him anywhere within the infield as his primary, I've already mentioned, second base. Another diamond on diamond hitting and defense guy. He has 122 contact versus righty, 84 contact versus lefty, 86 power versus righty, 60 power versus lefty, 107 vision, 101 discipline, 104 clutch. The hitting for this card is just not good enough to justify him a spot in the starting lineup. His defense is above average at everything's 80 plus except for his arm accuracy 75, which honestly does not matter if you use button accuracy, 82 speed. I don't even see him as a bench player. 100% no-go. I'm not going to get into this card too much. Just not impressive to me. Jae Ryu is the starting pitcher for the Toronto Blue Jays. Obviously, Ryu was a great pitcher last year for the Dodgers, and he also had a very good year this year too, especially towards the back end. He has a 5-pitch repertoire for the left-handed hurler. He is a changeup cutter, four-seam fastball, curveball, and sinker, so he has an amazing pitch repertoire. Another guy that's kind of like the first guy we talked about that's left-handed as well. He just doesn't throw very hard. His motion is better for hiding the ball, which can make him a little bit hard to hit, but he doesn't have like a ball that explodes. Like Oral Hershiser, his ball absolutely explodes out of his hand, even though he only throws like 92 miles an hour. Ryu just doesn't do that. As for his nines, he's 102 stamina, 94 hits per nine, 95 K per nine, 100 base on balls per nine, 88 home run per nine, 109 pitching clutch, 89 control. I really think that this Ryu will definitely be a good pitcher offline if you need a lefty, wanted a lefty. I don't think he's going to be amazing online. I don't think he throws hard enough. I don't think his nines are good enough compared to some of the other pitchers you can definitely have in the game right now. I'm kind of split on whether or not I would pick Ryu to be in my rotation. As a newer player, you're looking at his market value. You can get him for in between 12 and 16,000 stubs, as it is for most of these cards. I really do think that in that price range, he could be usable in a starting rotation, especially if you're a Blue Jays fan. I don't know if you can even make 5 good starting pitchers if you're a Blue Jays fan, or closers. The Blue Jays have kind of been screwed this year when it comes to players. This Ryu's really in the middle for me. I'm going to give him a go and a no-go. It kind of depends on your personal preference, I guess. Me personally, I'm not going to have him in my rotation. I'm going to pick him, and I might have him if I make a Blue Jays themed team, but he's definitely not going to be in my rotation. So we'll see long term. I'll get some games in with him and maybe give you guys a little bit more of a review after I played some games with him. Might bring him up in a video and compare him with somebody else. Something of that sort. Right now, though, I guess I'll go with no-go. I just don't think he's good enough. He's not going to be in my rotation, so why should I tell you to put him in yours? Drew Pomeranz. Pomeranz, it doesn't really surprise me that another San Diego Padre is one of the finest cards. As we all know, San Diego Studios loves Padres. This is a relief pitcher. He's left-handed throwing, right-handed batting. A 4-pitch repertoire. He has a 4-seam fastball, knuckle curve, 2-seam fastball, and cutter. His 4-seam fastball is going to go about 97 miles an hour. His knuck curve is going to go 81, so that good change of speed on the pitches. He does have a cutter that goes 88. And a 2-seam fastball. You mix those two together, cause a little bit of havoc. My problem with this Pomeranz is wild. 66 base on balls per nine, 64 control. So he's going to be kind of all over the place. That worries me a little bit. You don't want to hang up that nut curve. You're going to get smacked around. As for the other nines, he has 29 stamina, 125 max hits per nine, 125 max K per nine. He has 98 home runs per nine, 125 pitching clutch. So he does have the great nines. It's just one of those things where the control issues, I'm going to give him a go. I think that if you can get him at the good price of what he's going for, a little bit over 14,500 stubs, he's a great value closing pitcher, relief pitcher, because he is left-handed, so that adds a little bit more value to him. I'm going to give him a thumbs up and a go of whether or not you should pick this guy and possibly use him in your bullpen, especially if you're a San Diego Padres fan. I think you could do some work with this card. Alex Verdugo. The Boston Red Sox right fielder Alex Verdugo also plays left field and center field for his secondaries. He's left-handed throwing, left-handed batting. He's 97 overall. Once again, diamond on diamond hitting and defense. This card overall is actually pretty good. He has a glitchier swing. He has 115 contact versus righty, 124 contact versus lefty, 90 power versus righty, 67 power versus lefty, 95 vision, 90 discipline, 71 clutch. For his fielding, he has 88 fielding, 93 arm strength, 81 arm accuracy, 93 reaction, with 63 speed. He's not the fastest guy. I think there's so many outfield options that he's going to be a no for me regardless. But I do think that this card could have some value. Good contact, very good power against righties. Power against lefties. Above average fielding for a right fielder, left fielder. Above average fielding for a right fielder, left fielder. So not really sold on this card. If you're a Boston Red Sox fan, maybe try him out. But I don't think he's that great of a card to be like, oh my God, got to have him in the lineup. So I'm going to give him a no-go here. Whit Merrifield. The super utility guy, Whit Merrifield, can play all over the field. His primary position on this card for his 98 overall is right field. He can play first base, second base, third base, left field, and center field. Shoot, he might even be able to pitch and catch his own pitches. That's how many different positions this guy can play. He's right-handed throwing, right-handed batting, obviously diamond hitting, diamond defense. Looking at his attributes here, he's 98 contact versus righty, 107 contact versus lefty, 87 power versus righty, 67 power versus lefty, 113 vision, 63 discipline. Once again, a guy that will strike out a lot. Not good on the check swing. 119 clutch. In the field, he has 86 fielding, 75 arm strength, 86 arm accuracy, 87 reaction with 77 speed, 90 stealing, 85 base running aggressiveness. What I will say about this Merrifield is he can play all over the field. You could literally plug him in anywhere. If you're a Royals fan, he's almost a must-have for your team. Personally, he's not even like good enough, in my personal opinion, to be like an automatic defensive utility sub. I'd rather have like a good infielder and a good outfielder that can kind of hit the ball as my subs for like defensive players before I had this Merrifield. He has a glitchier swing to me. A lot of these Kansas City Cats have very good swings. Salvador Perez, obviously everybody knows that Alberto Mondesi has like one of the best swings in the entire game. Merrifield. So swing-wise, I think he's usable. He's one of those people just kind of in the middle of whether or not I think you should use him as a player. We look at his price on the market. You're looking at another $14,500 player. I'll give him a partial go, but for me, he's going to be a no-go. He's not going to make it into my bench or my starting lineup. Tony Gonzalez. So this is the first interesting card to me. The 98 overall Tony Gonzalez, starting pitcher for the Los Angeles Dodgers, the World Series champions. He has right-handed pitching, and he's a four-seam fastball, splitter, slider, and curveball. So like the traditional four-pitch repertoire, if it'd be a changeup instead of a splitter, but the splitter and changeup are pretty much the same thing in this game, in my opinion. He's going to throw a ball about 97 miles an hour. I just don't know. You don't really have a changeup. You don't have a sinker. You don't have a cutter. He doesn't have the best nines, but he has really good control and really good home runs per nine. So it's kind of, to me, impressive. He has 109 hits per nine, 88 K per nine, 104 base on balls per nine, 99 home run per nine, which is a max for home runs per nine, 89 pitching clutch, 86 control. So it's just one of those things where he does have good control. He does have the good hits per nine. I just don't think he has a good pitch repertoire. I'm going to give him a no-go for me. If you're a Dodgers fan, let me know if you guys use him in the comments down below because I'm kind of curious about him. I think he's a little bit hard to read out of his hand, and I just don't think he has a good enough pitch repertoire to be used, especially at this point in the game. Eloy Jimenez. Jimenez is the 98 overall left fielder for the Chicago White Sox. He's one of the up-and-coming players. He's only 23 years old right now. He's right-handed batting, right-handed throwing. He's a secondary position of right field. This is the first card, though, that does not have that diamond defense. He only has silver defense. Diamond hitting, as you can see, his hitting is ridiculous. 108 contact versus righty, 104 contact versus lefty, 103 power versus righty, 125 max power versus lefty. He's 84 vision, 74 discipline, 122 clutch. In the field, he has 71 fielding, 74 arm, 68 arm accuracy, 71 reaction, and 60 speed. Honestly, this Jimenez probably won't be your starting left fielder, but he could be a pinch hitter, especially if you're a White Sox fan. At 104 contact versus lefty and 125 power versus lefty, with the 84 vision, has a very good swing. And he wears some red batting gloves, even though he plays on a team that only wears black and white. Pretty impressive. He's going to wear red batting gloves on your team too, so get used to that. I'm going to give him a go as a pinch hitter against left-handed pitching. That's how I would use him. As a pinch hitter against left-handed pitching, he will get some cuts on my team. Whether or not he can stay on the bench full-time is going to be up to how well he performs for me, but I will give him some cuts against left-handed pitching for sure. Brandon Belt. So this is a longtime first baseman for the San Francisco Giants, Brandon Belt. He's left-handed batting, left-handed throwing, secondary position of left field, right field, diamond hitting, diamond defense. He has 125 contact versus righty, 60 contact versus lefty, 108 power versus righty, 84 power versus lefty, 85 vision, 125 discipline, 85 clutch. And in the field, he has 91 fielding, 77 arm strength, 78 arm accuracy, 92 reaction with 27 speed. As for Brandon Belt, he's just not going to get used. Even as a pinch hitter, I think you could have better pinch hitters. He has a pretty good swing for me. I'm not going to give him even any cuts against right-handed pitching. He's a no-go for me. Great first baseman if you're a San Francisco Giants fan. However, he just is slow. He doesn't hit left-handed pitching well, so he can't be an everyday starter. I guess you could use him as a platoon, but I would assume at this point in the game you have like Jason Giambi or somebody, or maybe you're really in love with like the 89 overall Matt Olson that you might use for like a first base defensive sub. I also feel like if you're doing these and you got to this point, like why not just do the team affinity for Freddie Freeman and you get a better version of this Brandon Belt with a better swing. So I wouldn't put him in the lineup, not with any of these team affinities that came out, none of these finest cards. he's a no-go for me. Brad Hand. The 98 overall closing pitcher for the Cleveland Indians, Brad Hand. This man has less letters in his first and last name than I have in my entire last name. Absolutely ridiculously useless information I just gave you guys, but it is what it is. He throws left-handed, at bats left-handed. He throws a 4-pitch repertoire of a slider, 4-seam fastball, sinker, and curveball. Not sure about the pitch repertoire here. He's not the hardest thrower. Only going to hit about 95 on the gun. He does have a curveball, though, that's slow and loopy that can throw some people off. Other than that, he has great nines, in my personal opinion, for a closing pitcher. I wish the pitching clutch was a little bit better, maybe a little bit higher hits per nine, max it out at 125. But he does have 29 stamina, 122 hits per nine, 114 K per nine, 99 base on balls per nine, 99 home run per nine, 109 pitching clutch, 93 control with 76 velocity, 99 break. He's left-handed. He throws from the stretch the whole time, so you can slide step, I believe, even if no one's on base. So that gives him a little bit of uniqueness. For this Brad Hand, at the price you're going to get him, like 13,000 stubs, 14,000 stubs. I think he's worth maybe the investment if you're a newer player or you just haven't done any of these team affinities. I'm not against you picking up Brad Hand and giving him a whirl. Me personally, not going to use Brad Hand. I have enough left-handed relievers in my bullpen, but I think Brad Hand can be usable if you pitch with him right. You're going to have to keep the ball low, though. You're going to probably have to be more of a pitch-to-contact guy than a strikeout guy. Keep the ball down with him. Maybe throw a fastball up every once in a while. But I'll give Brad Hand a go, but it's not like a hard go. It's a semi-hard go for me. But it's not like a hard go. It's like a semi-hard go for me where like he might not be usable for everybody. Dominic Smith. The hatless wonder, Dominic Smith. He wears a hat every time he plays. I think it just fell off with him sliding here in this picture. However, I think it's kind of unique they got him without a hat on. He's the first baseman for the Mets. He can play left field and right field. I think he's actually playing right field in this picture, if I'm not mistaken. He has diamond hitting, silver defense. Looking at his hitting attributes, this is a guy that has a very, very glitchy swing for a left-handed bat, by the way. He has 123 contact versus righty, 100 contact versus lefty, 107 power versus righty, 83 power versus lefty, 82 vision, 80 discipline, 125 clutch, 71 fielding, 74 arm, 76 arm strength, 72 reaction, 39 speed. Much like the Brandon Belt, he can play the same positions. I just think that go get Freddie Freeman. If you want a lefty that can just be used as a bench bat, that can play first base, has good defense. I mean, Belt had better defense than this Smith had anyways, but I think they're pretty much the same card. I'm going to give Smith the no-go. There's just so many first basemen, especially ones that don't field like ridiculously. So no-go for me from Dominic Smith. But as a guy that has used the regular Dominic Smiths in BR and always picks him almost every time as an option in BR, if I'm at the back end of it and I don't have a first baseman, because he does have a glitchy swing, maybe give him a try if you're a New York Mets fan. You might fall in love with him over the Pete Alonso that you probably have at first base if you're a Mets fan anyway. Guys, as you can see, there's 3 more cards here. The Lamet, Acuna Jr., and the Cole. We're going to give each one of these cards in-depth true reviews and go over the actual rare pack, because every single time you get the 300 fans for a team affinity, you get to pick between one of these 3. So I want you to know about each one of them and how you can use them in your lineup, because I'm assuming you're going to take 3 of them and keep them, 1 of each, and then you're going to sell the rest on the market to whoever doesn't want to complete the team affinities. So if you get them, I would probably keep them and play with them. I'm going to give you in-depth true review about each one of them and whether or not they should be in your starting lineup and how good of a card they actually are or are not. So check out that video. That'll be coming out shortly after this one. Guys, that's going to wrap up this video of going over the finest 2020 choice pack. Obviously, we went over just the base tier in this video. Check out the next video that'll be coming up after this one for the rare tier of the cards that include the Cole, Lamet, and Acuna, because I know you guys probably want to hear reviews on those, but we're going to give them in-depth true reviews. I'm going to go over kind of their statistics for this season to let you guys know why they got the 99 overalls rather than the 98 to 97s that the other cards got. I appreciate you guys watching. I hope this video helps you guys out a little bit about how to use these cards, whether or not these cards are good. You guys have a great day and be safe.